Official history tells us the 19th century was primitive. Yet, in photographs from the 1880s, massive airships hover over cathedrals under construction. Is it an optical illusion or a deleted reality? Claims suggest that modern tower cranes didn't exist then. Yet, massive marble blocks were placed hundreds of feet high with surgical precision. Photos whisper of giant cables descending from the heavens. Why do old buildings from Buenos Aires to Tokyo look identical? Theories suggest a civilization called Tartaria shipped these structures worldwide via a single aerial construction network. The metallic rods atop churches and government buildings, the claim is they weren't decor, but atmospheric antennas providing energy to the ships in the sky. Why did these ships vanish after 1912? Claims allege a global decree banned this technology, and photos were systematically purged from archives. Why are the lower floors of old buildings buried in earth? Theory says these ships were used after a great catastrophe to find buried structures and add new levels on top. Engineering journals of the time refer to these ships as routine tools. Yet today, no museum or textbook mentions them. Has our collective memory been stolen? These vehicles weren't invented, they were inherited. It's claimed that after the fall of Tartaria, the remaining tech was used by the New World Order before being destroyed. Were starforts really for defense? The claim is they were wireless charging stations and navigation hubs for the aerial fleet. Today, we travel by plane, but we are not free. Claims suggest 100 years ago, the sky was filled with a free energy network accessible to all. It is claimed that in the late 1800s, buildings were generators, not just art. Cathedral domes were resonance chambers filled with mercury. They gathered static electricity from the ionosphere and fed the massive construction ships above. If true, wireless energy was global long before Tesla. We are told thousands of tons of marble were moved by horse and cart through narrow streets. But revisionist claims say otherwise. Segments were cast in giant factories and lowered into place by these sky giants like Lego pieces. Why was the late 19th century plagued by library fires? The claim is that all technical manuals and blueprints for Tartaria's Skynet were burned. Only the buildings remained, and a fairy tale about primitive people replaced the truth. These ships weren't just gas-filled balloons. Claims allege they used red mercury plasma engines. By spinning mercury at high speeds, they manipulated Earth's magnetic field to defy gravity. In 1912, this was abandoned not because of safety, but because free energy couldn't be taxed. The propulsion used by Tartarian airships is claimed to be the same Vimana tech described in ancient Sanskrit texts. These weren't 19th century inventions, but the last remnants of a high-tech pre-flood civilization that survived in the East. Starforts were laid out in perfect geometric patterns across the globe. Some theorists claim their water-filled moats acted as electrolytes, creating a magnetic railway in the sky that the airships followed with autopilot-like precision. The 1893 Chicago World's Fair featured temporary marble cities that were later dynamited. Claims suggest these weren't temporary, they were the actual captured cities of Tartaria. The elite presented them as exhibits before destroying the evidence. If a global mud flood occurred, we are merely living in the top floors of a much grander world. It is claimed the airships were the primary way explorers surveyed the ruins of the old world to decide which cities to repopulate. Look at old city photos, street lamps with no wires. It's claimed the fleur-de-lis spires on rooftops acted as transmitters. The airships functioned as routers in the sky, bouncing energy signals from building to building. Why did education become standardized worldwide in the late 1800s? Claims allege the new curriculum was designed to scrub Tartaria from maps and rebrand the sky ships as steampunk fiction or fringe myths. Giant organs in cathedrals weren't just for hymns. Claims suggest they created specific frequencies that resonated with the building's metallic frame, allowing airships to lock their position or lift heavy loads using sound. Old photos show thin wires crisscrossing the sky. Claims suggest these weren't telegraph lines. They were a tethering and charging grid for the fleet. After 1910, these were replaced by copper cables to make energy a paid commodity. High ceilings, massive doors, and huge handles. Claims suggest Tartaria was home to various human sizes. The airships were the only tools capable of building at a scale that accommodated both the small and the great. Why are airship routes avoided over the poles? Theorists claim Tartaria's main energy mother towers were located at the poles. Today, these are restricted zones to prevent anyone from finding the still functioning ancient power grid. Between 1880 and 1910, thousands of atmospheric energy patents disappeared. Claims allege oil and coal barons bought and buried the tech. Airships were rebranded as dangerous zeppelins, like the Hindenburg, to scare people back to the ground. Why are early city photos completely empty of people? The claim is that these cities were being reset. The airships were used to drop off foundlings, new settlers, into ready-made, empty Tartarian cities. The famous disaster was the final nail in the coffin. Claims allege it was a planned hit to ensure no one would ever trust the sky again. The safe, magnetic ships of Tartaria were replaced by loud, fuel-burning planes. From the Nazis to the Soviets, the hunt for red mercury has never stopped. It's claimed they were searching for the fuel of the Tartarian fleet, a substance so powerful a small vial could power a city for decades. Today's skyscrapers are the descendants of Tartaria's towers, but with a twist. Instead of gathering healing energy, they are claimed to emit frequencies designed to keep the population in a state of low-level anxiety. Some extreme theories suggest Tartarian ships were capable of leaving the atmosphere. Photos of structures on the moon are claimed by some to be the final outposts of the sky network that fled Earth during the Great Reset. Cities like Venice and Amsterdam weren't built on water for trade. Claims suggest the canals were designed to ground atmospheric electricity and create magnetic runways for the low-flying construction ships. The bronze statues holding rods on top of old buildings? It's claimed they were receivers. They caught microwave energy from the ships above and converted it into heat for the building's residents. Why build a new building over an ancient one? Claims suggest mainstream archaeology was invented to bury Tartarian tech under the label of Stone Age, or ritual sites, to keep us from looking deeper. Some say we are time travelers. Others say we are just survivors with amnesia. The claim is that our current innovations are just us slowly figuring out how to turn the old Tartarian machines back on. Pilots still report seeing massive, silent objects in the clouds that don't show on radar. Claims suggest the last of the Tartarian fleet is still up there, waiting for the world to reach the right frequency to descend. Long before the World Wide Web, the airship network bounced data across the globe via frequency modulation. It's claimed the internet isn't new, it's just the digital version of a biological and spiritual network that already existed. The hulls of these ships were made of alloys that could bend light. Claims say they were invisible to the naked eye at certain angles, explaining why so many cultures have legends of flying chariots that appear out of nowhere. Why did a region called Grand Tartaria vanish from maps in just 10 years? Claims suggest a physical and digital purge. The Sky Network was controlled from this heartland, and it had to be erased for the new world to begin. Elias, our narrator, finds an old transmitter in a hidden basement. As he flips the switch, a low hum vibrates through the city's old tunnels. The claim is that once the signal is strong enough, the architects will return. Elias looks out at the old cathedral. The rod on top is glowing with a faint blue light. The story ends not with a conclusion, but a choice. Do you believe the books or your eyes? The sky was once our home. Now, it is just the ceiling of our cage.